Hi there. I'm back for another update and read aloud. A lot of you are confused about videos and how to access them. So, one, I don't know if they're not working if you don't tell me. I know some kids told me yesterday that the direction video wasn't working, so I sent that to somebody to get it uploaded. The problem with all these videos, I need to get in contact with you. However, a lot of them you can't access with your school account. So I send them to somebody to get them approved, and it takes time to get them back and approved. However, if you have your own email, log in with that. I know you can't do it from a school computer, but you can get your phone. Most of you have phones. Get your phone. Get the Google Classroom app. I have it on my phone. I'll show you what it looks like. So it looks like this. It's hard to see. That little classroom thing, how it normally looks on your computer. When you click in there, it's going to take you straight to your account. So here's all my classes that pop up that I post things in. So you can go there, sign in with your normal email, and then that's how you can view the videos. Some students have subscribed to my YouTube channel, so then you can just go straight to YouTube and watch the videos every day. That's where I'm going to put them from now on, so that you have access to that. So please be inventive. You don't have to do everything through your school account. I mean, obviously your assignments you do, but other than that, no. Here's Bella for today. You can say hi, Bella. She's really sad. Her nail, that's why it took a long time yesterday for me to get back to you, because she was running yesterday outside and broke her nail, and I had to take her to the vet this morning, and it's all swollen and yucky. They cut it down. So it's just been one adventure after another with her. She started out with ear infections when we first were let out of school, and then now has this lovely nail problem. So anyway, okay, go lay down, Bella. Go lay down. So anyway, please email me, message me when things aren't working, and I will get them uploaded as soon as I can. It just takes time. So that's why I do them a day earlier. So I'm going to send this to her right away. But again, they're swamped too. They're busy. So, okay, on to the read aloud. So the read aloud today is The Little House. This was another one of my favorites growing up. I'm really having to dig deep for these read alouds because now we're out of school for the rest of the year. And I'm going to keep going with these read alouds because I'm determined. So I've got a whole bin full of books. We just might be getting some ones that aren't very fun. But this one's fun. It's a Caldecott award-winning book. So anyway, here is The Little House. I'm going to try to move it closer. I'm working on puzzles, so putting them on there. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little house way out in the country. She was a pretty little house, and she was strong and well built. The man who built her so well said, "This little house shall never be sold for gold or silver, and she will have to see our great-great-grandchildren's great-great-grandchildren living in her." The little house was very happy as she sat on the hill and watched the countryside around her. She watched the sun rise in the morning, and she watched the sun set in the evening. Day followed day, each one a little different from the one before, but the little house stayed just the same. In the nights, she watched the moon grow, from a thin moon, new moon, to a full moon, and then back again to a thin old moon, and when there was no moon, she watched the stars. Way off in the distance, she could see the lights of the city. The little house was curious about the city and wondered what it would be like to live there. Time passed quickly for the little house as she watched the countryside slowly change with the seasons. In the spring, when the days grew longer and the sun warmer, she waited for the first robin to return from the south. She watched the grass turn green. She watched the buds on the trees swell and the apple trees burst into blossom. She watched the children playing in the brook. I think the reason I love this so much is because it reminds me of Wall-E, how their little house was all alone and then something happened. In the long summer days, not Wally, up, sorry. In the long summer days, she sat in the sun and watched the trees cover themselves with leaves, and the white daisies cover the hill. She watched the gardens grow, and she watched the apples turn red and ripen. She watched the children swimming in the pool. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered all the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. In the winter, when the nights were long and the days short and the countryside covered with snow, she watched the children coasting and skating. Year followed year. The apple trees grew old and new ones were planted. The children grew up and went away to the city, and now at night the lights of the city seemed brighter and closer. One day the little house was surprised to see a horseless carriage coming down the winding country road. Pretty soon there were more of them on the road and fewer carriages pulled by horses. Pretty soon along came some surveyors and surveyed a line in front of the little house. Pretty soon along came a steam shovel and dug a road through the hill covered with daisies. Then some trucks came and dumped big stones on the road. Then some trucks with little stones. Then some trucks with tar and sand. And finally a steamroller came and rolled it all smooth, and the road was done. See how it's going like up? Now the little house watched the trucks and automobiles going back and forth to the city. Gasoline stations, roadside stands, and small houses followed the new road. Everyone and everything moved much faster now than before. More roads were made, and the countryside was divided into lots. More houses and bigger houses, apartment houses and tenement houses, schools, stores, and garages spread over the land and crowded around the little house. No one wanted to live in her and take care of her anymore. She couldn't be sold for gold or silver, so she just stayed there and watched. Now it was not so quiet and peaceful at night. Now the lights of the city were bright and very close, and the street lights shone all night. This must be living in the city, thought the little house, and didn't know whether she liked it or not. She missed the field of daisies and the apple trees dancing in the moonlight. Pretty soon there were trolley cars going back and forth in front of the little house. They went back and forth all day and part of the night. Everyone seemed to be very busy, and everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Pretty soon there was an elevated train going back and forth above the little house. The air was filled with dust and smoke, and the noise was so loud that it shook the little house. Now she couldn't tell when spring came, or summer, or fall, or winter. It all seemed about the same. Pretty soon there was a subway going back and forth underneath the little house. She couldn't see it, but she could feel and hear it. People were moving faster and faster. No one noticed the little house anymore. They hurried by without a glance. Pretty soon they tore down the apartment houses and tenement houses around the little house and started digging big cellars, one on each side. The steam shovels dug down 3 stories on one side and 4 stories on the other. Pretty soon they started building up. They built up 25 stories on one side and 35 stories on another. Now the little house only saw the sun at noon and didn't see the moon or stars at night at all because of the lights of the city were too bright. She didn't like living in the city. At night she used to dream of the country and the field of daisies and the apple trees dancing in the moonlight. The little house was very sad and lonely. Her paint was cracked and dirty. Her windows were broken and her shutters hung crookedly. She looked shabby, though she was just as good as a house as ever underneath. Then one fine morning in spring, along came the great-great-granddaughter of the man who built the little house so well. She saw the shabby little house, but she didn't hurry by. There was something about the little house that made her stop and look again. She said to her husband, "This little house looks just like the little house my grandmother lived in when she was a little girl, only that little house was way out in the country on a hill covered with daisies and apple trees growing around." They found out it was the very same house, so they went to the movers to see if the little house could be moved. The movers looked the little house all over and said, "Sure, this house is as good as ever. She's built so well we could move her anywhere." So they jacked up the little house and put her on wheels. Traffic was held up for hours as they slowly moved her out of the city. At first, the little house was frightened, but after she got used to it, she rather liked it. They rolled along the big road, and they rolled along little roads until they were way out in the country. When the little house saw the green grass and heard the birds singing, she didn't feel sad anymore. They went along and along, but they couldn't seem to find just the right place. They tried the little house here, and they tried her there. Finally, they saw a little hill in the middle of a field, and apple trees were growing around. "There," said the great-great-granddaughter. "That's just the place." "Yes, it is," said the little house to herself. A cellar was dug on top of the house, and slowly they moved the house from the road to the hill. Well, the windows and shutters were fixed, and once again they painted her a lovely shade of pink. As the little house settled down on her new foundations, she smiled happily. Once again she could watch the sun and moon and stars. Once again she could watch spring and summer and fall and winter come and go. Once again she was lived in and taken care of. Never again would she be curious about the city. Never again would she want to live there. The stars twinkled above her. A new moon was coming up. It was spring, and all was quiet and peaceful in the country. The end. So, that was The Little House. I'll be back with another book tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a good one to listen to at bedtime, or have your little sister, brother, niece, nephew, whoever you live with, listen to. It was one of my favorites that we read every time I wanted it. Well, pretty much every night going to bed when I was little. So that one will be tomorrow. And if you have questions or need help with something, please email me so that I can get you help. And be patient with the videos uploading. Or log in with your own email. Everything's on YouTube, so you can subscribe to this channel and then just sign in with your email every day. So hope you're staying safe and healthy, getting outside and enjoying some of this beautiful weather. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.